Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nareman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. It's Michael Menino, and welcome to Driven Unscripted Success Podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who will share their experience with you, the audience, and how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island of Costa Rica is Richard Blank. How you doing, young man?
I'm doing great, Michael. So happy to be with you and your audience today.
Thank you so much for showing up. Everybody always appreciates sharing of knowledge. So do me a favor. We were talking a little bit off camera and having a great time because we came from the same decade and had the same experiences growing up. Tell everybody where you're at now and how you got to where you're at.
Well, I'm here in Central America, Costa Rica, but I started out in Northeast Philadelphia. I'm a proud Philly boy.
Nice.
And when I graduated Abington back in 91, all my friends had a plan. I had no plan, but I knew this. Spanish was my favorite class. So I doubled down and was a Spanish major at Arizona. And then when I was 27, in August of 2000, I had a chance to come to Costa Rica to work at a friend's center. Decided to stay, learn the business from the inside out. Started my business 18 years ago, and here we are today.
Wow.
Yeah, man, telling the story on your show. So it took its time. I didn't want to rush, and I just wanted to make sure that I could weather storms. And I think that's why longevity kind of speaks for itself.
If you've been doing anything for a period of time, you end up good at it. That's all there is to it. Right? The hard part is sticking with it. The day to day is generally the hardest part. And if you love what you do, you're not really working. You're just having fun.
You also, you have to take into consideration your growth. This was not home court advantage, not like the Carolinas or Northeast Philly. I needed home court people. So I had to hire the IT support, human resources, the attorneys, the accountants. Imagine you and I being the trunk of the tree. We needed the branches and the roots to at least give me the advantages and the shortcuts and at least the stability to be able to grow. Nice.
Do me a favor. We were talking off camera about what you do with your crews inside your business. You do something that most people typically don't do. You have video games and air hockeys and stuff like that.
That is true. Most people just do ping pong or have a television there. No, man, I'm a collector of retro games. I collect classic pinball. I have air hockey and fighting machines and Pac-Man. I got the space for it. And so a lot of the arcades in Costa Rica were going out of business. So you and I would look at Mercado Libre, see that some mall in Perez Zeledón selling machines. We'd go up there with a couple buddies in a truck. Next thing you know, we're pulling these things out, but most are working. Sometimes you got to replace some boards, but if you do, what you pay a couple $100s for could be worth thousands. And so that's the one thing that I used as a happy medium to recharge batteries, make it a place where you're smoking one less cigarette and getting off that Instagram and just making friends, because when you can relate to others, that I believe helps with job stability and reduces attrition at any sort of business.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Just having fun at what you do. I had a couple companies. One was a finished carpentry company. We did starter mansions. And the 5 rules were, the first one is don't do what Menino does. Safety's first. Number 2 is don't do what Menino does, because it interferes with rule number 1. Number 3 is don't listen to Brian. He's the one running the place. And the 4th one is got to have fun. And I'll never forget when I was hiring people. I would say, hey, I hire good attitudes. And they're like, well, don't you care about skill level? I go, we can teach you the skill level. I'll pay you what you're worth, but I hire good attitudes. And then there's this one guy that just wasn't cut out for us. And then I had him work with one of my guys, and he goes, he's not going to be a long-term problem. You hire the attitudes, and then you have great attitudes, and you have a great group.
A lot of the times I'll hire someone that's never worked at a center in their late teens, like an 18 or 19-year-old. Why? And I agree with you. Anyone that's bilingual bears the mark of higher education. Just like the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai, you show dedicated practice, structure, and discipline. So guess what?
Exactly.
You and I can mold them, Michael, like a squire to a knight. They don't have bad habits. They're not a cancer, and they're not used to jumping. And so I can... Oh God. Mercenaries. People that come in that you salivate, you want to hire them because they're aces, but they're not loyal to any sort of flag. They'll leave you on a dime. And they'll also
Hmm.
sometimes bring people with them. But you have to think about that when you're hiring the shiny object or the one that talks too much. You and I know that. And so for me, during interview processes, and I agree with you on this, a lot of people are very well rehearsed. They'll give you what you want to hear. So you and I got to talk about the 10%, man, especially when you get in the ring. I mean, there's the
Yeah.
zig
Oh,
and the
yeah.
zag, there's the wild card. And so I ask you, I say, Michael, why don't you tell me a coming of age moment? Tell me a time you beat up a bully
That's
or
a good
saved
one.
a kitten. Why? Because you got the account with Michael, but he's not going to sign the contract unless he gets along with you. He may ask you a question about
Right.
depth and to see if you have any sort of essence. And then you get
I
to see
agree with that
someone that's
wholeheartedly.
real, man. They shed some skin and they might tell you something that can give them a nickname in the future.
That's a good question to ask. When have you defended anybody? What have you done? What's special with you? What's special about you? And everybody's got, like you said, rehearsed lines. We got to ask them questions that they're not rehearsed at.
Michael, my brother, you were talking about the attitude earlier. Okay, fine. I got
Oh
you
yeah.
on that. But if the kid walks in the door, that coming of age question, then all of a sudden he lights up. He's like, yo, man, me and my five buddies, we did this and this. You're like, wait a second, you were so serious 20 minutes ago. What's up there, champ? Why all of a sudden have you shed skin? Where did this
Yeah.
come from you? And so I need to anchor, and you don't have
Okay.
time. And so sometimes you need to manipulate, and it's not, let's say, mentalism or doing those sort of tricks. But man, if you want to connect with me, at least share something with me just to see if we can bond together, make it real. So at least I once again understand the depth of the individual.
Nice. Beautiful. You ask
Yeah.
great questions. That's key, especially in interviewing, asking great questions. If someone's listening to you right now, and I think I know what the answer is on this, and they want to get better at what you do, what would you suggest to them? What are the tips and tricks you'd give them?
That's a wonderful question. I thank you for asking that. It's self-analysis is for self-improvement. And so we have the technology today to record ourselves. It's not the stenograph of 1865. And so I think most people say they don't like how they sound. Well, guess what, buddy? Go look in the mirror. That's how you look too. And so you do the best you can with grooming or adjustments or just smiling. And so sometimes you could use the tone to your advantage. Always have a consistent variable. It should be confident and empathetic. I always seem that gets the most of the positive reinforcements. Secondly, you should mirror image people's speaking speed and their speaking levels. Why? Because it could reduce cross-talking and interruptions. That can give you better flow. Pregnant pause is a game. You could use that when you're asking a perfect tie down question, but most of the time you need to pause between strikes because you need to see the size, strength, and strategy of the people with whom you're speaking. You need pauses. You need water in the desert, my brother. And so you need to be able to be confident enough when you make your point to be able to sit back and see how they receive it. You might need to ask a couple more clarification questions before you move forward. And I also believe in positive escalations. You should always mention the individuals that give you the pass to pitch, that add to your wu wei, to your current. If somebody is your gatekeeper, and I charm them enough to get transferred to you, of course I'm going to mention them verbally, but also, Michael, I'm going to do it in writing. Why? Because out of 1,000 people, I'm the only one who did that, and you know it. And when I call your company back and Judy answers the phone, you don't think I'm going to get a hero's welcome? She'll know it's me. And she'll
There you
thank me
go.
because she's been with you a decade and no one's ever done things like that. And so if you can do things the natural way, where you really show good intentions and good faith, you don't need to angle in and be slick. These are the sort of soft skills that I have used through the years in order to not only get onto your podcast, my friend, but also build a business because a lot of genuine people can see through it. And the ones that can understand someone's true intentions, those are the ones that are the most accepting. And so I think that would be an excellent first stage for the individuals that might want to become much better speakers and be more proficient in the rhetoric.
Well, that was great. That was a lot of great tips. Self-analysis is what? Awareness?
Of course it is. I mean, I can't fix you. You fix you. I can give you some Philly guilt and call the balls and the strikes, but man, stop interrupting Michael. The guy asked you a question and you hedged him. You said, okay, or wonderful. Come on, man, stop hedging. You got to give specific answers. Maybe use the military alphabet, because a lot of people have served, and I'm so proud of the military, and people have exotic last names like you do. You got to make sure it's done correctly.
Good Irish name, Michael Menino.
It's a wonderful name. And those that don't even try to pronounce it correctly or take the time to make sure it's spelled correctly so the email doesn't get bounced back, you respect people like that. They're showing true interest. It's not being racist or stereotypical. You're just clarifying. That's all it's doing.
So you know what a Faraday cage is, right?
Tell me.
Faraday cage is this wire mesh cage, and they put people in there, and it can delete all of the outside noise. And they put people in there, and they said to feel emotions. What emotion is the highest frequency that you think of?
Oh my God, it's electromagnetic transfers of energy. I see things in colors and I can feel things from people. You got to be, and the most beautiful thing is when you're thinking of somebody or you get the email, or in my case, I'm into cameos and other stuff. When some of my favorite actors say, "Hey, Richie, you're doing great." That's the greatest thing ever. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. I believe in it. And I think if you can transfer that over the phone, it's definitely the strongest power.
They measured, I thought it would be love, and it ends up being authenticity, which you're talking about. That's a lot about what you're talking about, being authentic.
And maybe empathy. If I had to choose something as well, I mean, if you need one of those descriptions, it's empathy. I don't think of others first. I think of togetherness. And I always try to put myself in someone else's shoes. I mean, you got to be cool with me if I'm cool with you. I'm just not going to give you 100%. Why don't we meet in the middle and make it strong and tight, where everyone gets something, right? And no one leaves anything on the table. Mm-hmm.
I agree wholeheartedly. So, Richard, what is one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome in your career, and how did you do it?
Disappointment. That's the biggest one. I can give you the first one. The second one is like parents' guilt. And the third one is just inexperience, maturity, and impulse control. But the first one is, when you're building something and you're bringing people along, and it's happened throughout history, there's always whispers and shadows. Look what happened to Caesar. You're talking about Judas. And look at all the kingdoms.
Mm-hmm.
And so the disappointment from some individuals that wore such masks. And so that's all I need to say on that. I'm not trying to bring it as a downer, but Michael, my man, if we got to be straight shooters with your audience, you're asking me what it is. It's not going to be sunshine and rainbows. I will let you know that defense was the number one thing that I had to do. And you know what it was? It was I was being naive, because I believe that if I put something out, I would get something in return. But I also realize that some people have a price, and they're willing to sacrifice their ethics for prices. And I can't believe that, because that's not the way that my grandparents and parents raised me. That's why I'm very selective of the campaigns that come in. I've never sold my soul for a golden fiddle. You got to be kidding me. I live in a strict Catholic country. I want the kids to go home and tell their parents what they do for a living. Now, parents' guilt. We spoke earlier, my good friend, about walking alone, and some of the best decisions and accomplishments in our lives were done by ourselves. Not like we haven't had influences and cheering sections, but we had to remove that weight. And so I did not go to Harvard Law or Columbia Business or Washington and Lee like my family members. I went to Arizona. I didn't have the grades or the maturity or the discipline. But I had the drive of Spanish, and you and I, with your martial arts and my Spanish, there was above and beyond classroom and dojo. We completely lived it. So we became the best, and we mastered it. We knew that was the plan. And so I had to show passive aggressively when most people would throw shade on it or naysayer it or try to protect you. They had to see the muscle growth. And they couldn't always be there. You had to do it. And so a lot of it was going against the grain of what was expected of me from my friends and family. That was literally my own candle at one time. But, that's just how the ball bounces, Michael. That's how it goes. And so, and the third thing is just starting a business. Everyone makes it out to be so difficult. You and I discussed as well prior to the podcast. It's just a little bit of work. You just got to do it. And so, you learn and you go as you go along. But I will tell you this. I never overextended myself in the beginning. I rented a turnkey station. Check this out, my brother, and I'll get real quick. I rented a turnkey station at a blended call center, which is like an internet cafe. So I could scale the rows accordingly. Did that for 2 years. Then I had the clients in the capital to rent space, bought secondhand equipment of turnover of centers. You can buy IT equipment. And so I would build out rows at a time like Monopoly. Did that for 6 years. Then I had the cash and the clients to then purchase a property, third floor it, and deck it out. So that's 18 years. That is a tortoise approach. That was not a hare. And I acted my wage, Michael. I made sure that I once again could sleep at night, not put my ethics in jeopardy and be desperate and make horrible decisions. And so you may need to do that.
You know how rare that is, though? Do you know how rare that is?
That's how I was raised, man.
That's how I was raised, sir.
I mean, I'm not driving Ferraris, but...
No. And when you can afford a Ferrari and you don't drive a Ferrari because you don't like Ferraris, that's discipline. There's a lot. If you got the money and you can afford a Ferrari, some people just get a Ferrari, get a nice house, get a nice this. Then you're a prisoner to all your stuff. And then most of the stuff you probably don't even like. You bought it for somebody else. You bought the Ferrari for what people thought of people that drive Ferraris.
My good friend, by moving to Costa Rica, I let a lot go, like the Buddha says.
Yeah.
I left my beautiful Philadelphia and my friends in Arizona and the rat race and the competition and all of my contacts that would have put me on third base, ready to go. You know what I wanted to do at 27? I wanted to shed some skin. I wanted a hero's journey. I wanted to see if I could do it on my own. And so I took want to know the first car I drove in Costa Rica? I bought it for $200. I drove a 1993 Yugo GVX. Grand Value Extra. It didn't have second gear. I went from first to third. Oh, it was the best. But it's not the point. My point being is I wanted to get raw. Yeah, man. Real raw. Like out in the rain, man, where you just feel it. And I tell you what, I was born again. That's why all this happened.
Well, I was in the States and my first car was a 74 Ford Pinto. I was afraid someone hit me and blow up in the back.
Man, but those were cool looking cars though. But may I share something else? I can afford, but I never did. My main drive is a 1992 Volkswagen Cabriolet. Remember those beautiful white convertibles?
Yes.
That's my ride. Could I afford more? Of course I could, but I don't want to. And that's, it's funny. I'll pull up next to these beautiful Porsches, BMWs, Maseratis, you name it in Costa Rica. They have beautiful cars here, but they're not convertibles. I'm the only one chilling. And I always here's another funny thing. Then I'll get the guy pulling next to me with the Hyundai with 5 different sort of pieces of the car, all different colors, rolling down his window, big arm with tattoos. And he's like, hey, let's trade cars. And I'm like, nah, but you can come join me. Let's drive to the beach. He's like, yeah, Poppy, let's go to the beach. I make friends every day. The beggars are even nice. And so, it's not ostentatious. I'm not rubbing it in your face, but should I? But not in a third world. You shouldn't. There are certain times and places for these things. Scottsdale, yes, but not here. It just doesn't seem right. And so I just wanted to be more with the people, Michael, if that makes sense.
That's awesome. No, it makes perfect sense. The military, when they go into another country, the first thing they do is blend in. The first thing they do is blend out. You don't want to stand out anywhere you're at. It makes no sense. I love your style. I love what you're doing. And Scottsdale, my sister lives in Scottsdale. That's a nice place.
My brother lives, yeah.
Nice.
Right up at Game Ranch, chilling.
There you go. So you're a little bit older now, like me. Here's a question for you. If you could go back to your younger self, your 20s, and talking about moving out there, and you knew everything you knew now, what would you do different and what would you do the same?
First bit of advice is not to be so hard on yourself.
That's a good one.
What a waste of time and energy. I mean, we're all human. We still have feelings, but I think I unnecessarily created too many boogeymen when it
Put
just
a lot of
wasn't
pressure on
necessary.
yourself.
I don't know why. And as I mentioned before, it's because of lack of experience. But once you run around the track 4 times, you understand the curves. It's just at 27, what are you going to read books? What I used to do is watch
That's
Humphrey
all we had,
Bogart
though. We didn't have
movies.
the internet. That's all we had for it.
Yeah,
Encyclopedia Britannica. That's all we had.
that stuff doesn't help. I needed to go old school like Humphrey Bogart or Steve McQueen and see what those guys would do. And try to
Experience
use
it.
those examples, just by having grit and just not having technology to your advantage. I wanted to once again see if it's raining and I don't have internet connection. Am I smart enough to get out of situations? I'll tell you something that's interesting. Being bilingual, I let most people know I speak Spanish, but if let's say I'm in Boys Town and there's guys behind me, and I'll make sure that I'll pretend I don't speak Spanish to make sure everything's cool, just to protect myself. It's better to be preventative than curing.
Well, my dad used to say, "Play dead and get ahead."
That's right. Especially being here. Look, I stand out. Do I look Costa Rican? No, I'm a
A little
smiley
bit,
white.
a little bit
A
smile.
little
You get
bit.
a little bit of a tan, a little bit, just a little bit. You got some Irish
Yeah.
in there, don't you?
Uh, Romanian and Russian, actually, but around the.
Romanian. Oh, dude, all the Romanians I know are the best people on earth.
No, I appreciate that. I'll let
Oh, I'm
great
dead
grandpa
serious.
know when I see him in 50 years.
Yeah, please do. We're in the trades and we had a bunch of Romanians. They're just the greatest people on the planet. If you ever go work on the house, they feed you and they bend over backwards for you. Just the greatest people. That makes perfect sense when you said that.
Michael, they had enough guts back in the turn of the 20th century to move to New York City and
And
test their luck. Can you
did you
believe
did
it?
you did you see how they did it though? Did you ever ask anybody how they come over?
I asked grandma, and she would. They make it sound more glamorous than I think than what it was, but I don't think it was easy for them. They
Tell
came,
me
they were
your
in New
stories,
York.
because my stories are totally different.
Well, they were tailors back in
But how did
Romania
they
and
come?
Russia
How did they come over?
through Ellis Island. And they scrapped up enough money to get on that boat and come. And they had enough guts to leave and they learned their English, but they had a trade. And that's
Yeah,
why I guess my two families got together because they had being a tailor in common. And so when they moved to
right.
New York, they could start their business or at least have something to begin with. And they had personality. And
Work
that was
ethic
my
beyond
main,
compare.
but that was my main argument to my parents. Listen, if they are nomads, it's in our blood. Hmm.
Mhm. I had one of my friends said that he had to cross a river like the Detroit River, and I said, "What happens if they caught you? Did you bring it back?" He goes, "No, they shoot you and leave you in the river." I'm like,
You-
"Okay,
Yes,
that sounds like you're taking a chance."
big
And
time.
another one went into those containers, and then they
Yeah.
knew at 7 days, after 7 days they can pound on the container and get out. But if they go before that, then that before the halfway mark of getting to the United States or Canada, and then they wait a certain amount of days, they not. I'm telling you, these guys it was just amazing stories how they got here and what they did with what they had when they got here. Just really knocked it out of the park. I'm dead serious when I say Romania is probably one of the best people I've met.
Thank you. Yeah, it puts things in perspective now, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And
what our
makes our
parents had to
troubles
do
look
to
so
get here for
so
us.
small.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So it sounds like things are going pretty well for you in your business, and looking forward to the future. Wondering what have you ever or what you're doing to create passive income.
What I'm trying to do is, I guess, pay it forward, doing podcasts like yourself, teaching some people locally, trying to invest in the local arts and see where that goes. I sometimes believe in the future bet. It doesn't have to be immediate gratification. It's like planting seeds. And I think once again, if you put your name out there and you give people a slice of pizza, not a little thing with a toothpick at the mall, it's not even a bite.
Right, right.
Let them have a slice of you. Let them actually spend some time with you and see what you're all about. And AI today will be replacing the majority of my industry. I had experienced that today when I was on hold, and it's getting better, but still frustrating. But I tell you what, my man, they can never replace empathy on the phone. They could do 90% of the gathering, but that first and goal has to be done between two
Exactly.
people. Hmm.
The closing they're not going to be able to do. Not at all.
Of course not. I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
they're good for sourcing, but not good for getting the whole video. The human interaction that you're so good at is a skill that's almost lost nowadays.
Well, if they watch more Face Man from the A-Team, they might pick up some tricks. No, I'm only kidding. That's some homework for your audience. There's something also, the uncanny valley, where that Japanese scientist in the 70s talked about it. When the more that these computers and robots get human-like, it's going to hit a valley where we're going to get freaked out over it. Think of Star Wars. That's why more people liked R2-D2 over C-3PO. He spoke better English than me and you. It was annoying. You know? So we feel intimidated. It could replace us. My call today was very trying until I got a live person on the phone that could walk me through a couple steps. I didn't enjoy the experience yet. And I think I'm not alone. And so, but yeah, I see some certain shifts in this industry. Sure.
Yeah. Like I said, though, the actual connection that you're so good at, yeah, that's never going away. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think an AI or I know an AI can't do what we do.
Also, I'm very fortunate. COVID knocked out a lot of businesses. My industry, I was able to send people home and have them work virtually through a VPN.
There you go.
What has that done? The labor pool today, about 80% has the metrics to back it up, but they want to work from home. Okay, fine. I understand the financial time benefits of it, but I will say between me and you, I consider them 85% proficient. Why? Because if they're on site, forget the time and money spending coming here. You have internet redundancy, backup, electricity, immediate IT support. That's a couple percentage points, right? For at least being up and running. Secondly, you and I are sitting next to each other all day long. We're high-fiving, Michael and me, just ripping it out. Synergy, isn't that a couple points? At least 5 percentage points? And then if you want to put my arcade games, give that a point. So what are we at, 93% right now? And then I'm not going to toot my own horn, but there is something of a leader that can show this live. And as I mentioned, this transfer of energy. And when I walk the rows, or I'm there for you, my man, and I hear you closing that deal, and I just don't call you champ. I go, listen, I heard the Mrs. Jones call. You sold her 44 items. I'm so proud of you, Michael, in front of all the boys. That's a couple points. And that's a gift that keeps on giving. And then when your parents show up, and I go downstairs and tell them how amazing you are too. So you're taking away so much synergy and things that are done when people are spending time together. Now, I'm fortunate to still be in business with the mediums. I'm not complaining, but if you want the straight talk, I miss the people. I miss the camaraderie. My building's majority empty right now. I'm about to rent it out. And it's just it's cool, but it's a weird stage. We're packing up after the show when all you wanted to do is build it up for that first concert. So imagine that sort of feelings you get as a business owner where you were raised to think about building the castle and having the soldiers in there. And now everyone's virtual. You don't see them anymore. You just see the numbers. And it's a weird transition, if I may be forthright with you, my man, and your audience.
That's fair.
One of those things I guess I never got used to.
That's fair. You're still doing well, but it's different. Yeah, like you said earlier, you got to roll with the punches and go, that's the secret of taking a punch, man. You got to roll with it.
It feels like a print. It's not a painting anymore. Does that make sense visually?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I agree.
You're taking away senses.
You are.
And that enriches environments. And so it's just one of those things.
I completely understand. So wrapping up the interview, thank you very much for being here. What's the plans for the next 6 to 12 months? What do you got new and exciting coming up?
Well, I'd maybe like to write some children's books.
That should
be fun. Just on a personal note, I hired the bassist, Gary Beers from In Excess, to play on a song that I produced here in Costa Rica. Yeah, it's called Shine Like the Sun from Igni Farocki. So check it out. You'll like the video.
So did you sing? What's the name of it again? Shine Like the Sun?
Shine Like the Sun. The local band is Igni Farocki. And I hired, once again, virtually, Gary Beers to play the bass track on that for me and make a performance video. And we combined it with a video we filmed at the center. And it's pretty cool, man. You get to see some of the games in the car that I mentioned on a good time. And
I can't wait to see it.
yeah, just trying to get involved with the local arts here. And, did a rap and a break dancing video as well at the center.
You did a break dancing video? Were you break dancing?
Hired the agents that worked with me. And we put it out there. Yeah. So, just it's fun stuff. A, I can afford it. B, it's good price. And a lot of people just want to get involved. And so just having some fun, my man. And I can't thank you enough, Michael, for having me as a guest on your podcast today. I had a great time.
Oh, it was truly an honor and a pleasure, Richard. You knocked it out of the park. One of the funnest episodes I've ever done. Your linguistic skills are absolutely phenomenal. You should be teaching those.
I was driven.
There you go. Listen, if people want to get in touch with you, other than coming out and see you in Costa Rica, how would they get in touch with you?
That was my first thing. They can go to Costa Rica's callcenter.com. Call me, send me an email, fill out a form. And I tell you what, if they call me up and say, I'm friends with Michael, I'll definitely run through a script with them, give them some advice, free of charge, of course. I want to hook up your audience and make sure they're more successful and confident on the phone.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Richard. You knocked it out of the park. And if anybody would like to contact Richard, please do. Costa Rica Call Center?
Costa Rica's Call Center. And I'm from Philly. You take out the apostrophe. Come on, man. We're going for it. We're going to be the king of the prom.
Nice. All right. Thank you very much for being on the show, and we'll let you go. And please contact Richard. Probably one of the funniest and I guess intuitive persons I've dealt with. Thank you again, Richard.
My brother. Take care, man.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.